Hi guys, so I'm going to try to help you kind of clarify, compare and contrast today, just to kind of take you through the process, because this is predominantly about pre-writing. If you do a really good job pre-writing, the paper itself will be pretty easy. So the first thing I did, step one, is I picked the two things I wanted to compare and contrast. So I have Just a Girl by No Doubt, lyrics printed out, and I have India Irie. Video is her song from her album Acoustic Soul. So you can pick whatever songs you want, of course, it is totally up to you. I picked two that connected to gender because that's what we're doing, but you don't have to do that in the least. You can pick whatever you would like to talk about. They can be by the same author, they can be by different. You can have one from the 1960s and one from 2020. It's totally up to you. So after reading the songs, after listening to the songs, I put the videos in Canvas too if you want to check them out, but they're not necessary. Then I decided to kind of check out my explication jobs, so my 10 things on explicating. So I grabbed that. Check our poetry explication. So that'll be the same thing that we do for songs. So we did Breaking Tradition together. I put in a little sample, did a little video for you, and then you were going to explicate as well with the work and do that. So you're going to take the poem or song through each of these 10 steps, and you're going to do like we did in our explication homework, identify what it is, find a quote that can help you support it, and then figure out some analysis or explanation that would help you link your quote and your topic and help you prove your interpretation. So now that I have my lyrics and I have my explication sheet, I'm going to move to the next round. That is where, you guys know I like to do multiple colors. So I kind of picked theme to look at, speaker, tone, diction, figurative language, rhyme scheme, and rhythm. So you don't have to do all 10 things in your paper. So I picked like 5 or 6 to kind of start from, and then see how that can help you. So when I'm looking at theme, I have here that society can determine how you feel and how you choose to act. That's kind of my possible theme with Just a Girl. What I don't have yet is a line that's going to help me prove that theme. Notice all my lines. So I have from speaker, Just a Girl, check. So I might use the title to help me prove my speaker. The other thing I'm going to use to help prove my speaker is the world is forcing me to hold your hand. So that idea of force and holding hands is often female, especially if you've watched Big Bang Theory. Amy wants Sheldon to hold her hand. The other thing I've done is I've started numbering the lines, because when you quote, you need to refer to things by line number, so it's handy if they're all counted up so you don't have to count up each time. I've also started you with like a possible rhyme scheme. So looking at the end rhyme, take this pink ribbon off my eyes, I'm exposed, it's no big surprise. Exposed and no are close enough to get the same letter. And eyes and surprise, close enough to get the same letter, if you'll notice. And then stand doesn't rhyme with A or B, so stand is the letter C. And then the world is forcing me to hold your hand. So me would be D, and then hand rhymes with stand 2 lines above it. So I know for sure she's working with some patterns, and she definitely has end rhyme. I'm gonna follow that throughout to see if there is a pattern that I can find. And then notice down here in rhyme scheme, I've also found internal rhyme, which is rhyme within the line. What I've become is so burdensome. So hello, now we have internal and end rhyme. So that's kind of interesting. So on my messy brainstorm, which I've included in PDF format, so don't be alarmed if you can't read this. You can totally print it out. But what your job is that anytime if I say that she has a angry, fed up, frustrating tone, that's my interpretation, I'm going to need some lines to back it up. So I've drawn across to my tone, I'm just a girl, all pretty and petite, so don't let me have any rights. So I'm going to use that to help me prove that she's frustrated and angry and fed up. Speaker, female, we got that, just a girl. I'd probably look for some other items. And I have, just to remind me for analysis, the idea, the repetition of just a girl, that it seems like she's less than other things, which is kind of interesting. So to help me prove my theme, that society can determine how she feels, I wrote myself a note. Once you use a quote or a line or a group of lines for one example to help you prove one thing, you can't use it to prove something else. So I can't take pretty and petite and use it for tone and then also say, oh, pretty and petite is my example for alliteration. So I'd want to find some other things to try to help me. So to help prove my theme that society can help determine how somebody feels about themselves, I might use this. The moment that I step outside, so many reasons for me to run and hide. So I might move that to my theme. That helps me illustrate the theme because it's something outside of herself that's determining how she feels and whether or not she feels like she can act. So check this out in your files. I have many lines determining if my analysis, what language I'd use, and notice on the pink ribbon that usually girls wear pink ribbons in their hair, but her pink ribbon is on her eyes as a blindfold. So kind of you're gonna have to read in and analyze that. Why does she want the ribbon off? Why was she blindfolded in the first place by society? Then you have your figurative language section, your simile, your metaphor, your symbols, whatever you have. I also have here with Tweedledum that's in my figurative language because that's an allusion from Alice in Wonderland. You have the twins, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, but she's also using dumb for comparison, burdensome, and become to help make her rhyme scheme. So that's interesting. And then you have to think, why does she use something from Alice in Wonderland? Is she trying to say that as a girl, she's kind of going down this rabbit hole of what's happening, that all these things are without her control, but she has to figure out how to get her control back. So lots of ways to analyze. So I've explicated one song. Now I have to explicate my second song. So here's my video. And I have for her theme, be happy with yourself, that she kind of raised herself and she's good with that. For my support I have, but I've drawn the conclusion, it's all an illusion, that she's figured out that what society is telling her about gender or girls in a video or what someone has to look like or be like or act like, that's wrong. She's like, it's an illusion. They're trying to confuse you. That's part of the media. You don't have to buy into it. You get to choose whether or not you want to buy in it. Speaker, definitely female. I'm not the average girl from your video. So then looking at our gender analysis, we know that that's often scantily clad women in the video. And she's like, I'm not that. I'm not built like a supermodel, but I learned to love myself unconditionally. And I'm going to use that learn to love myself unconditionally to help me prove that she has a confident tone, that she's content with herself. And I'm going to use that line to help me prove it. So I've also started my rhyme scheme over here that don't and won't. So she has couplets right there, don't and won't rhyme. So that would be A. Toes and soul, not exact, but same so, toe, so same vowel sound, so that's kind of a half or slant rhyme. And then video, similar also to toes. Supermodel, new letter C, nothing rhyming with supermodel yet. Unconditionally, new. Queen, queen and unconditionally. So qui, unconditionally. So again, kind of a half or slant rhyme, kind of close enough for government work. Not the average girl from your video. Then I go back, I already have a B next to video, so that would be another B since it's repeating. And close kind of rhymes with toes. So that would be video, toes, close. That might be another B too. And then no matter what I'm wearing, I will always be India-Irie. So kind of interesting, Irie and B rhyme, so using her name. Now I have a pattern here too, and I have end rhyme like I did in the other song. So now I'm going to say, well, do I have any internal rhyme? And then we do. Look at verse 3. A misconception, a vast deception, a true confession, a life-learned lesson. So now I have multiple examples of internal rhyme too. So even though these songs have similar speakers, they differ a lot in tone. They have her symbol, a big symbol is a guitar, where she can create music and create herself, and she feels like she doesn't need anything else. So I'm going to look at both of these. So I've explicated, I know what lines I'm going to use to support. I have an idea of my analysis. Now, my next step is, and again, I'm a little bit messy, you can be neater. So I remind myself, hey, looking at the two songs together, how are they similar, how are they different? They're similar, both speakers are female. Pretty easy. Am I going to get a full paragraph about that? Probably not, but something to include and talk about. Rhyme, both use end rhyme and internal rhyme. That could be fun to talk about. Symbols, they both use symbols. They use different symbols, but they both use symbols with the pink ribbon for no doubt, and India-Irie has her guitar that we just talked about. Then on my different side, I have the different themes that we talked about already. I have the different tones, that just a girl is angry and frustrated, and video is content and confident. Then the diction, no doubt uses the illusions and just a girl, and kind of negative diction, like I'm such a freak. And then video, it's much more positive and empowering diction. I'm a queen. She loves herself unconditionally. So we get a very different word choice. So, and remember, you can always put diction and figurative language together. That is for sure a good option. Okay, so now that I have how they're similar and how they're different, I have to come up with some possible thesis statements of how I can take those similarities and differences. First of all, I have to decide in my mind, do I feel these songs are more similar or more different? If I'm saying they're more similar, I need two similarities and one difference. If I'm saying they're more different, I need one similarity and two difference. So whichever one you have one of, you need to do that first. I give you a sample of both. 1, although both songs are similar in their use of rhyme scheme, they differ in tone and figurative language. Possible. Next one, although the songs differ in theme, they are similar in their use of rhyme scheme and symbol. So it's up to me how I interpret if they're more similar or more different. Last one, these songs differ in tone, but are similar in rhyme scheme and their use of powerful word choice. So back to diction and figurative language. Your thesis should be really simple. And I will put this in Canvas too, just if you kind of want to see the process. But your job, we talked about in your personal statement that yes, you were arguing that you were a great leader because you resolved disputes and helped students and gave people opportunities for the future. And the other way that you could explain that, you're implying that you should, not just that you're a good leader, but that you should get into a UC system. So now we have how these songs are similar and how they're different, but your claim is going to be kind of implied, whichever you have two of, then you're saying that they're more of whatever that is. So if it's one difference and two similarities, you are implying that they are more similar. And if it's one similarity and two differences, then you're implying that they're more different. So implied claim, similar to what we saw in our personal statement. So now after you have your thesis statements, you are ready to focus and go back to all your notes in your explication. Pick the 3 items you want to talk about in your body paragraph, form your thesis, and then you're ready to start writing. And since we're doing point by point method, like the same way we took our gender notes by each point and we looked at both things, you're going to take your point, different tone, and then you're going to have examples from each song to show that those tones are different. So you'll have at least 2 quotes, one from each song in each of your 3 body paragraphs. So we're looking for 5-paragraph essay, introduction, and the last part of your introduction will be your thesis. Then first point is your paragraph. Maybe there, let's pretend we're using our first thesis. Although both songs are similar in their use of rhyme scheme, so paragraph 2 would be about the similar rhyme scheme. Then paragraph 3, they differ in tone, so that whole paragraph would be how both songs differ in tone, and you'd have to say what the tone is of each song. And then the last one is the difference in figurative language. So that would be your 4th paragraph. You'd explain how each one uses figurative language differently, show some different examples. Then you'd give us your conclusion, where you restate your thesis, and then you're going to give us some sort of interesting takeaway, and then you're finished. Then the only thing that you need left is your works cited page. I gave you a sample in Canvas, and you're going to use the lyrics from your song. Sometimes if they're printed out from a website, they will give you some information at the bottom, and you'll do the name of your song in quotes, who wrote it, and the artist, and then the date that if you went online, you also need the date that you accessed Metro Lyrics, A to Z Lyrics, whatever kind of lyrics, or the band website where you found your items. There's also a link to MLA to see how to cite lyrics in Canvas as well. Okay, I hope that helps you kind of flesh out compare and contrast. Again, it is so much about doing those 3 things we did with your poetry explication, identifying, then quoting, and then doing some analysis to show how it proves your interpretation. Okay, thanks so much. Let me know if you have questions.